Please rules in the morning.
Low-hanging fruit. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Breaking Bad News. I'm your host, Max Darrett. Max Darrett. He's the man whose name you'd love to touch, but you mustn't touch.
That's pretty good.
Over there is Brian. Oh, thanks, man. How you doing today?
You know what? I was good until I heard about this story.
Yeah, we both have a lot to say about this,
God.
considering, you know, I'm yellow. I'm a huge Simpsons fan, obviously, and so is Brian. Let's just jump right into this. So, The Simpsons has come under fire the last couple of years for the supposedly racist portrayal of one particular character, Apu. Specifically, an Asian comedian named Hari Kondabolu made a documentary about the character called The Problem with Apu, which I believe came out last fall. In the documentary, Kondabolu interviews several prominent celebrities of South Asian descent who dislike the character for various reasons, from his accent to the fact that a white man, Hank Azaria, voices him. Last Sunday, a new episode of The Simpsons debuted where they addressed this issue. In the episode, Marge Simpson reads a story to her daughter titled The Princess in the Garden. However, she edits the story heavily so it can be politically correct because the story apparently came out a few decades prior. For example, this is how the beginning of the story goes. Once there was a cisgender girl named Clara. She lived in South America, fighting for wild horse rescue and net neutrality. That's good. When Lisa
she should have been, but she should have been non-binary. That's because cisgender is just wrong. Should have been a non-binary character. The Simpsons, Matt, you're behind a little bit still. Got to catch up. It's the current year, after all, Max.
And a vegetarian and/or vegan. Which,
yeah, vegan,
you know, Lisa,
not vegetarian. Yes. There's no room for vegetarians anymore. That's oppression. Vegans.
That's true. You can't eat anything that casts a shadow. That's another Simpsons joke, by the way. When Lisa complains about how the book is no longer interesting because Clara has no room to evolve and is already perfect, Marge replies, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" Lisa then turns to the camera and says the following: "It's hard to say. Something that started decades ago and was applauded and inoffensive is now politically incorrect. What can you do?" The camera then pans to a portrait of Apu sitting on Lisa's bedside table with the words, "Don't have a cow," inscribed on it. Marge then responds, "Some things will be dealt with at a later date," followed by Lisa saying, "if at all." Following the episode, Hari Kondabolu took to Twitter to voice his thoughts. "Wow, politically incorrect? That's the takeaway from my movie and the discussion it sparked? Man, I really loved this show. This is sad." Following the episode's conclusion, a showrunner for The Simpsons, Al Jean, guy who's been there since the beginning, retweeted several messages decrying political correctness. One tweet from a Twitter user named Vikram662 said the following, quote, "Love how you guys handled this non-issue. People just want to cry about everything nowadays because it makes them feel like they're doing something. Don't ever change. Oh, and I'm Indian, and according to Twitter, my opinion matters more on this topic." So needless to say, several news outlets and Twitter users made their displeasure with The Simpsons known, particularly that it was the character of Lisa that delivered the line, who, according to Twitter, is the most progressive character on the show and wouldn't say that. Well, I agree with one part of that statement, but before I give my general thoughts on this, Brian, I know you're just busting at the seams to yell at this.
Yeah, so I knew about the documentary that this guy was putting out. I remember seeing the ads for it about a year ago, and I was really pissed back then. So, first of all, let's get this right. The name is, for those of you who don't know, it's not just Apu. It's Apu Nahasapi Mapetilan. That's his full name, okay? And
it's spelled exactly as it sounds.
Yes. So, and he's been on the show pretty much since the beginning, or at least very, very early on. Like all the other Simpsons characters, he is a beloved regular. Everyone loves Apu in the same, if you like the show, right? In the same way that you like Chief Wiggum, that you like Ned Flanders, that you like Moe, that you like Groundskeeper Willie, like whatever. The Spanish bee guy, you know, all of those characters.
Yeah.
And the thing is, before I get into the rage part, I want to establish a little bit other things that I find that are very interesting, okay? The Simpsons is popular because it's all stereotypes. Like every character on the show is a stereotype. You know, whether it's based on race, whether it's based on ideology, whether it's based on profession even. Like the mayor sounds like a Kennedy, right? The Chief Wiggum looks like a pig. You know, these are all purposeful things. You know, Mr. Burns is like like an old rich guy, you know, it's all purposeful, all of it. So, and yet, even though it's based on stereotypes, the show has managed to last for 29 seasons, which is many, many, many years. I believe it's 29 seasons, yeah.
Yes.
So that means that people, in general, think the show is good enough that they kept watching it. I mean, and I know that there are going to be people in the comments that say, I don't like The Simpsons anymore, or I haven't watched it in years, or whatever. That's not the point. That's your opinion. That's fine. The point is, there are people who watch it and still watch it, right? And it's popular with everyone. I mean, by and large. Otherwise, it wouldn't have lasted 29 seasons. It just wouldn't have if people thought it was offensive or whatever. And the fact that it's just like full to the brim of stereotypes, and that's what people find funny because they are absurd, then there is no, like, you couldn't possibly make a logical complaint that makes, I think, any coherent sense in that, you know, this needs to change. Because the only person asking for change is this guy and a few progressives that think like him, you know?
Mm-hmm. Notice how he only interviewed celebrities primarily in his documentary, at least in the trailer.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he get the I think it was what's the name of that other Indian guy from Harold and Kumar? But that guy,
Asif
you know,
Manvi,
yeah, like other guys like that. But it's Cal Penn, that's his name.
Thank you.
Yeah, but yeah, this is like within the Hollywood bubble, you know. So I watched a few videos to get some other people's opinions on this, and this is where I got angry. Specifically, this comment about Lisa Simpson. There were some guys that said that Lisa is not only that she is the most progressive, and that she wouldn't say that, but the thing is about Lisa is she's progressive to the point where she is also a parody. They make fun of her progressivism as often as possible, right? So she's actually the butt of jokes. You know, because she thinks she's a feminist and she's politically active and all this other shit. She's actually often wrong, right? So that you can't hold Lisa Simpson up as some kind of example. Plus, why is this even a discussion? This is a cartoon show made for families. Why is this even a thing? Like, why do I have to defend Lisa Simpson, a fictional fucking character? Why do I have to defend Apu, another fictional fucking character? Now, lastly, I saw Hari Kondabolu, that's his name. He was on The Daily Show, and it was just like yesterday or something very recently about this whole mess. And Trevor Noah was talking to him and, you know, asked him what, you know, like, what do you think about the character or something to that extent? Like, what is your problem with Apu? And the guy said, oh, no, I like Apu. I think he's a great and funny character. I just think that, you know, there is a problem with him that I think we should be talking about. And then he says, and this fucking blew my mind. He says, to be quite frank, and I don't want to offend the studio here, but I don't give a shit about Apu. And that made me fucking angry because if you didn't give a shit, why the fuck did you make a documentary about it? Like, and this is what I'm saying. And he keeps saying, oh no, he's really funny. He's really funny. I like Hank Azaria. Except Hank Azaria is essentially racist because he's doing a voice of a brown guy. It's like blackface. He literally said that. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Hank Azaria is racist because he does voices well? What? And at the same time, you don't care? You don't care? Yes, you fucking do. And it's the thing about...
fucking consistent with your fucking outrage.
Yeah, like... This is the thing about SJWs that really piss me off, especially the famous ones, especially when there's blowback, okay? They're cowards. They're fucking cowards because they get behind an idea that they think is going to work out and they think that it's going to be popular and they put it out there, and then when the shit hits the fan, the people say, "Stop fucking whining. You're a bitch, you know, for doing this. This is not offensive to me. And I am of the appropriate race that you should be asking," which is a fucking absurd question anyway. Like that guy who tweeted and said, "I'm Indian, so apparently my opinion matters more." That shouldn't fucking matter. Like this is retarded. What they do is you get them and then they back off and they say, no, I'm not saying I don't like it. I like it. I'm like, I like it. I just think, you know, it's just kind of racist and shit. And the fact that I like it makes the fact that it's racist, even more problematic because that's how propaganda works, which is something else he fucking said on the show. Apu is propaganda? Really? Yes. He said that propaganda works because it makes you laugh. So Apu is anti-Indian propaganda. And then he says, wait, he goes further. He says something even more retarded. He says, up until recently, where they started getting more Indian people like in Hollywood, it's almost like it's really a problem. If it's a problem at all, it's a problem within Hollywood. Although I don't see any white guys crying that Bollywood has too many Indians in it. But I digress. He says, what does he say? He says, up until recently, the only representation that we have had has been either harmless store clerks like Apu or taxi drivers, or we're terrorists. And I'm like, Indian terrorists? Show me the movie with Indian fucking terrorists in it. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, do you know the difference between people from India and people from the Middle East that are like fucking terrorists? Like, what the fuck are you talking? You're an Indian person. Why do I know more about your culture than you do? It's ridiculous. Indians, and it blew my mind how fucking dumb that was. And I know what he was going for. He was trying to outrage the audience to get them to think, oh yeah, they're both brown. They must be the same. How stupid do you have to be? But this is what he does. And Trevor Noah just nods and smiles, is just, oh yeah, it's about representation, right? It's like, no, this is just whining to get attention so you can get on the Daily Show so people will watch your fucked up movie that bitches about a fictional cartoon character that everyone thought was funny. Apu was one of my favorites. SJWs are fucking cowards. They're fucking cowards because they won't stick to their guns and actually make an argument. And the only thing this guy wants is to destroy The Simpsons. He says he doesn't care, but when he got butthurt because The Simpsons, and bravo for fucking not backing down on that shit, because they said, you know what? This is going too far. This is political correctness gone too far. And I agree. This is political correctness is in and of itself fucking retarded. Like my friend asked me, and I know I'm ranting a lot. And so
it's okay, man. It's okay.
My friend asked me when I told him about this story. He's a Puerto Rican like I am, and he said, what did he say? He said, if there was a lack of Puerto Rican representation, would you bitch about it? Like, would that be a problem if it was a Puerto Rican guy like ran a bodega or something? And I was like, yes, if it was a documentary if a documentary made by a Puerto Rican movie star was made, then it would be a problem to that person. But I think the average Puerto Rican would not have a problem with it. In fact, we'd probably welcome it, because the fact is, this show is popular because stereotypes are relatable and people find them funny. That is the reason why it works. What The Simpsons has done is it has a diverse cast of characters. While they are all stereotypes, what it does is it pokes fun without being outright offensive and trying to get people mad at each other. The Simpsons has done more to bring cultures together by its quality and just presenting people honestly through these stereotypes than any of these people ever do. It's this political correctness that actually drives people apart. I just have one other thing to say in respect to the character of Apu, and particularly Lisa Simpson. People who say that Apu is degraded by his presentation, or that Lisa is the most progressive character, they don't understand who these two characters fundamentally are. I cite one particular episode, I think it was called Lisa the Vegetarian. In that episode, Lisa she becomes a parody of herself. Like you said, she becomes a vegetarian, and what she sees as just is making sure that the rest of the world shouldn't eat meat because she sees it as
Lisa's murder. But it was Apu, towards the end of the episode, a vegan, I believe, who says that what you need to learn how to do, Lisa, is to tolerate other people's points of view while also being able to embrace your own way of life and getting other people to respect that. It's through that, particularly that episode, along with several other moments throughout the various seasons of The Simpsons, that Apu is actually seen, despite supposedly being a racist stereotype, as one of the most grounded, as one of the most honorable characters in all of Springfield, especially up against characters like Homer Simpson, who's like white, middle-class buffoon, Mr. Burns, as you said, who's like the evil rich Republican. Mm-hmm. And it's because of the way that they're degrading this and, what's his name, Hari not being able to be consistent with his outrage, and he likes The Simpsons, he doesn't like The Simpsons, we don't know where this guy actually stands, and what you said about The Daily Show, that it just angers me, especially with which is arguably, in my opinion, one of the greatest TV series ever made, and they're trying to degrade it on something that is essentially a non-issue, just like Vikram said.
Yeah. Anyway, they're yellow, is what I'm saying.
Anyways,
and it's the only show on TV where that has that much yellow representation, so it's the only show.
I know. That's why people like me advocate the ethics put forward by The Simpsons as we look forward to achieving our Simpsons-kin ethno-state.
Yeah,
soon.
I guess Apu can't be a part of it because he.
Oh no! Because he's on The Simpsons, he can stay.
Oh, okay.
And he's a good man. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I think you get our points of view. We're not very happy with how the situation has turned out. Hopefully, it'll die down, and The Simpsons won't feel the need to address it like they insinuated they might.
I hope they go ham on it and attack the political correctness, to be honest. I hope
because, they have done it in the past. They've done episodes entirely on social justice warriors and trying to get women into STEM fields and into math and that sort of thing, and they take more of the anti-social justice warrior stance, so maybe they will. I just hope that this whole thing dies down so that they don't have to do it, but let's be honest, it probably won't. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us for this particular edition of Breaking Badger News. I want to thank Brian for joining me on such short notice. I'm sure he was happy to be here, and with his impassioned rant, he made this episode amazing. If you like this particular video, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We do videos pretty much every single day here at Honey Badger Radio. Anyways, that'll do it for us, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, in the words of Apu na Hasapima Pedalon, thank you, come again.